Hello, what's up, people? I am Lady Calamere, and welcome to my channel. So, I am doing my 52nd video, and this will be on the Japanese sun goddess, Amaterasu. So, if you are new to my channel, hail and welcome. And if you're returning, well, thank you for coming back to my channel. So, Amaterasu. Who is she? She is the lady, the goddess, the chief goddess of Shinto, which is, Shinto is the religion in Japan, which means dealing with the spirits, the religion of the spirits and of the gods and goddesses, which is the kami, Kami. And her whole name is Amaterasu Omikami. And her whole name means the illuminating, the August, oh, what was it? The August illuminating kami, the spirit of heaven. And yes, she is a sun goddess. And I know some people are like, a sun goddess. Yep. And in Shinto, the god of the moon is a god, is male, where the sun is female. And his name is Tsukiyomi. So, Amaterasu. I really love this goddess. I used to have a little image of, I had several images of her and they're gone, unfortunately. But it's okay, I have these cards. And also, if you want to have an image of Amaterasu and you can't find a statue, you can use a mirror. Make sure it's not a gothic mirror, but not a black mirror either. A silver mirror. It can even be like a copper mirror. It doesn't matter, as long as it's not a black mirror and as long as it's not gothic looking. So mirrors represent this goddess. And Amaterasu, Omikami, is actually represented on the Japanese flag. So if you see that red circle, that's the sun. That's Amaterasu, and she's also a state goddess, chief goddess of it. So, and after World War II, the emperor had to, like, Japan made an unconditional surrender, and the emperor was made to renounce or rescind the fact that he is a descendant of Amaterasu, because the ancestral line, they trace it back to this goddess. Now, Amaterasu was not the very first goddess, but she was made by the gods to be the chief goddess. And so let's get on to, there's so much to talk about. So Amaterasu, she is the not only the sun, the chief of Shinto, but the chief goddess of the universe. She's a goddess of culture, civilization. She deals with agriculture, where She's the goddess of empires, cities. She is the goddess of perfection and beauty. She is life and she is light, and she is a goddess of spiritual ascension. There's a Japanese proverb that if the mirror is dim, the soul is dirty. And mirrors represent her. So her stone is actually jade. I know, green jade. But you can also use sunstone to represent her, or gold, which is actually a metal, and fool's gold, which is iron pyrite. And by the way, we have Lady Boss being the star here. Little Boo. She's being possessive of everything. Her flower is chrysanthemum. And you can also use sunflowers to represent her, because the sun faces, the sunflower faces in the direction of the sun. And her tree is a cryptomeria. Her time is definitely during sunrise, as well as solar noon. Not like 12 o'clock noon, solar noon. So you can find that out on different apps and stuff. Yeah, Lady Boss. Also, July 17th is sacred to her, as well as the Winter Solstice. In Japanese New Year, that's very sacred to her. But we can also make our New Year's sacred to her. So, you know, we could dedicate December 31st and January 1st to her during our New Year's, you know, with respect. So her time of day, of course, is the day. And her planet, of course, is the sun. Well, its sun is not really a planet, but in astrology, you get what I mean. Her number would be 8, and 8 in Shinto represents perfection. So there's a legend that the mirror she saw herself in when she came out of the cave was 8-sided, and it has a little nick where the door to the cave hit it. Her most important, the Shinto, especially among Shinto, and her most important shrine in Japan is, even today, is on Ise. It's an Ise Grand Shrine. So, and that's dedicated to this powerful goddess. You just like to mess things up. So, I think Lady Boss is being Susanoo. We'll get into that story. There are different legends about her birth. There are different stories, and depending on where you're reading it from, and we have the Nihongi, and we also have the Kojiki. Now the Kojiki one is the most famous one, and I'll get into that one. Okay, so in her father in this one was where her father gives birth to her. The sun, the moon, and the god of oceans and storms. So you have Izanagi and Izanami. Izanagi is the male, the god whose name he who invites, and Izanami is the great goddess of she who invites. Now, they have they of course they were told by the gods to come down and to make creation out of the soupy waters in which they make the islands of Japan, and they discover sex, and in which she gives birth, Izanami gives birth. However, Izanami gives birth to the fire god. The fire god severely burns her. So when she gave birth to him, because he was so hot, he burned her up. I'm just trying to think of his name. Anyways, it will come to me. But she was badly burned, and she went into the land of the dead. Izanagi was very depressed. So he went to see her in the land of the dead. But she was already like decaying. And she did not want her husband to see her this way. So she chased him away, and he escapes. He escapes the spirits that were sent after him, and he escapes her. So he has to go and cleanse himself. So he does. He does a ritual bathing. And as he wipes his left eye, and from his left eye, Amaterasu is born. And from his right eye, Tsukiyomi was born. And when he wipes his nose, out of his nose, Susanoo was born. Amaterasu, being the firstborn and being so beautiful, she was made to the sun goddess. Now the next one, who was bright but not as luminous, was the moon god. So he was placed to be the moon. And Susanoo was not very good looking, and he was very chaotic. So he said, you'll be the god of oceans, but he's also the god of storms. And he's the god of chaos and all these other things. Now, so that's one of the stories. So in the Nihongi, it's different. So in the account of her birth, was that she was born of Izanami and Izanagi. And they said, you know, before she was born, we said, we need someone to be the chief of the universe. We need a sun deity. So they gave birth to her, and of course, Tsukiyomi and Susanoo. Now there's another story, lesser known story, was that when Izanagi was looking at himself in a mirror, he was very pleased, and out of this comes Amaterasu. So, but like I said, the most famous and well-known one is the first one I told you, which is the Kojiki. Now, Amaterasu marries. She marries the moon. So the sun and moon at one time were seen at the same time. And they were always seen together. But that changes later on, and Amaterasu gets very angry at him. And there is a goddess of food, Ukemuchi. Come on. See what I mean? Chaos. Ukemuchi. Now, Amaterasu sent her husband, the moon, to visit her to see how she's doing. And plus, she was making a feast and she could not attend. So this moon was supposed to represent her under her orders. So Tsukiyomi was seeing this beautiful feast, this beautiful food, and it was very tasty. But you know, each time he ate a plate, she would go behind a rock and then come out with more plates of food. And then she would go behind this rock and come out with more plates of food. Well, he wanted to know how she came out with all these plates of food. He went behind, he spied on her, and to his horror, he saw out of her ears she was pulling food, out of her nose she was blowing out food, she was puking out food, literally vomiting out food that he ate. And pulling, what really made him sick was pulling it out of her other orifice, like her anus. And even her I believe her vagina too. But pulling out of her anus, he had enough. When she came back with the tasty morsels, he didn't eat it. He chopped her up. And her corpse went onto the ground, and all the food came out, and where like the different vegetables landed where it would spout. Now, do not fret, because from her eyebrows, her inky eyebrows, came caterpillars. From her belly came out food, from her nose, from her ears. I mean, rice kept pouring out, and all the other good stuff. And of course, the silkworms. Not caterpillars, silkworms. Sorry. If I said caterpillars, I'm sorry. Silkworms. In which the silkworms is used for clothing, and of course, silk was and is expensive. Amaterasu was angry. She divorced him. She didn't even want to be seen with him anymore. So that's why you don't see the sun with the moon. Come on, Big Mel. I heard you yelling. He's being a big baby. Here's the other star. Finally, he's here. Shadow. So that's why you won't see sun and moon, and now you have night and days. Amaterasu comes out in the day, the Tsukuyomi comes out at the night, and once in a while, you'll sometimes, especially during the full moon, you'll see it during the day coming out. But nope, unless there's an eclipse, they do not seem to be meeting. Susanoo, the Amaterasu and Susanoo pretty much clash. What? Come on. Stop being annoying. You're not getting a snack right now. So, anyways, I forgot to mention that her attributes are always the mirror, the sword, and her jewels, her jeweled necklace. And in fact, her descendants, her human descendants, and actually Jimmu became the first emperor who traced his lineage back to Amaterasu. The sword and the mirror and the jewels were handed to the emperor, and to this day it is sacred in Japan, her items, and it's kept safe from thieves and any other attempts to destroy it. Could you stop? So, I swear these cats are like a being of chaos today. Susanoo and Amaterasu, well, they fought. At times, they would just bicker and quarrel. And as he was being told to like leave heaven, Susanoo comes up to the heavens, and Amaterasu got word of it. So she took her skirts and tied them up in the pants. She put her hair up, and she got her sword, and she was ready to battle him. But he says, fear not, I come up in peace. I just want to, talk and just meet my sister. So they kind of start getting into, I can make children better than you. No, I can. So Susanoo took her necklace, chewed up the beads, spit it out, and he made 5 sons. And she takes his sword, breaks it in 3 places. She chews it up, spit it out, and out of the mess comes 3 daughters. And he goes, see, I won. I made 5 sons. She said, no, they were actually my necklace that you made it. Only 3 daughters came from you. And it was sort of like said to be more patriarchal. Oh, well, sons are better. But actually, she made more of the 5. She made 5 children, whether he made 3 women. And from these 5 children, one of them becomes the ancestor of Jimmu, the first emperor. But he gets angry and he starts tantrum and he does horrible things to insult her. Terrible, horrible things. He made excrement and threw it at her throne. He fouled up her rice paddies by destroying it and shitting in it and defecating in it. And he was causing all this chaos. And then what was bad is he took a horse, a white horse, which a white horse is her animal. He skinned it, he flayed it, and threw it into this, the place where her handmaidens were, where her and her handmaidens would, do spinning and they would make robes for her. Well, one of the horse when the horse hit and went through the roof, one of the women stabbed herself in the vagina with the shuttle and she died. Amaterasu had enough. She fled. She fled and hid herself in a cave. And she closed it off, and then darkness prevailed. And with darkness, the demons came out. Some of the bad demons. Not all the demons are bad in Japan. But there was no life. She took life. She took the light. She took the brilliance. She took the day away. And it became cold. But it was through the efforts of Uzume, Uzume no Mikoto. So through Uzume, she's the one who brought her out through her antics, through her laughing, through her turning over the tub. Remember I told you about this in my other presentation on Uzume, where she got plum wine, she got the gods and goddesses drunk, and where they were in front of the cave where everyone was trying to make her come out. They brought roosters, they were telling jokes, they were whatever, they were singing, whatever, they were praising her, they were begging her. Well, Uzume gets them drunk, turns over the tub. She jumps on it, she dances on it, she does a striptease, she shows her breast, she shows her vagina, and the gods and goddesses were all roaring with laughter. Amaterasu was curious, she wanted to know what was going on, and they said, oh, nothing, we found another goddess that's better than you, or another deity that's better than you, more brilliant and more, so you can stay in the cave. Well, curiosity got the best of her. She peered out and she stepped out. But here's the thing. When she stepped out, a mirror was placed in front of her. And when she stepped out, God grabbed her, one of the deities, another deity, closed the door and where the mirror got nicked. And she was so fascinated by her look. She saw herself as beautiful. She saw herself, her reflection of how brilliant she was. And she saw what the gods have done. They decorated a tree like a Christmas, like what we have to do with our Yule tree, Christmas tree. They decorated it, and so light and life has returned. Now Susanoo, he was punished. He had, for his behavior, they pulled out every fingernail in his hand. Everyone, in both hands. And they pulled out his toenails on both feet. And they banished him, where he gets to stay in the underworld. But later he comes up and he apologizes to her and gives her the sword, in which it's called the low grass cutting sword. So Susanoo does this time, and that happens with that. So Amaterasu could have fought him, but Amaterasu knows fighting him would start one battle after another, after another, after another, a unending battle. But she does stand up to him, where it's said when she greets Susanoo when he comes up, she puts on a threatening appearance. Like I said, she takes her skirt, she ties it up, makes it into pants. She puts her hair up. She gets her bows and arrows, and she gets a sword, and she makes a threatening appearance where she is shaking the tip of her bow and stamping her legs, on the ground, in which she is literally kicking up the dirt. And she shouts at him with extreme fury of, "Why have you come?" So we see Amaterasu is not a pushover. She will fight if she needs to. But at one point, Susanoo is going so crazy that it would be an unending war. So, how does she dress? Well, her handmaidens every day are said to make her clothing, and depending on the color will be depending on how the day. So if it's a bright cheery colors, we're going to have a bright cheery day. If it's a dark and foreboding colors, well, we're going to have storms. So we're going to have a dark day, gloomy day. So what she wears is how the day is going to be. And yes, she does have handmaidens. So there is a discussion about Susanoo's behavior of possibly sexual assault, and how one of the handmaidens stabbed herself in her vagina and she bled to death of what he did. And that not only was he chaotic, violent, stormy, but also possibly sexual assault Amaterasu. However, is when he loses self-control, he creates havoc in heaven. So, and in the story, he breaks, like I said, he breaks down the ridges separating the rice fields and that are by the covered up ditches and destroys that. Oh, come on, man. That scared the shit out of me. Freaking cats are fighting. So, her temples and her throne is covered in excrement. And that he dared flay her horse. I mean, it was just too much for her. She'd rather retreat than have round and round of fights that would last for centuries or millennia. So the possible thing with her going into a cave and taking away the light is we're looking at, we could think about an eclipse, but also the winter solstice, where the sun is at its lowest energy. What would I say? It's the shortest day of the year, where dark happens and then finally light comes back. So that's more than an eclipse. We would say that she's more of, I mean, some people have said it was like an eclipse, but it's more like the winter solstice. I mean, come on, guys. So, but as the eclipse thing, I think that's a neo-pagan thing of explanations of it. But I wanted to put that out there just in case you hear it somewhere else and say, hey, Calamir, I heard this story. But it's actually dealing with the winter solstice, where, you know, people to this, you know, we celebrate, we drink, we party, we decorate our tree, and light comes back. Now, in Shinto, people will, in the morning, clap twice and face east and pray to her and ask for peace for themselves and other people. And ask for, you know, different blessings from her. Stop! Cats are fighting. So that's the story with that. Now, Amaterasu's animal, of course, is a horse. Of course, of course. Also, Amaterasu has different names for different titles, but like I said, Amaterasu Omikami is her full name. Now, another thing is that she is honored with rice. People give her what you would give her is rice, and you can also give her sake, which is alcohol made from rice. And what some people will do is after they pray to her with the sake, they pour it out on the ground. But you can give her like Japanese, traditional Japanese food if you want, or fruits from your harvest, or just get her some fruits. I've given her fruits. I've given her yellow apples, yellow foods, any foods that have the color what the sun will be like, whether sometimes the sun will appear red, sometimes yellow, or I would give her tropical fruits. That's just my thing, what I do. I'm not saying it's traditional to give her pineapple, but it's a tropical fruit, and it's for warmer climates where the sun is stronger at. So of course I would give her those things. Now, she's a goddess of order, where Susanoo is a god of chaos. So we will ask her to bring order to our lives. To, like I said, she's very beautiful, to bring beauty to our lives. So also, when we look in the mirror, we see our beauty, but we also can use the mirror for scrying, where we could see our inner beauty with it. Amaterasu is also can be used for divination, especially with mirror scrying. And so what you can do for her altar, you could put a jewel, a sword, and a mirror. It could be a temporary altar or a permanent altar. Give her offerings of jade and gold. Even sunstone if you want. That's not traditional, but you could give her beautiful things and works of art. Give her rice cakes. Rice crackers. You can even give her rice milk. those are all acceptable offerings. I mean, some of them are not traditional. So when we look at Amaterasu, we want to find the calm within ourselves, the light, and where she's in our chakras, she would represent the solar plexus, where that is, of course, the solar plexus, the Manipura, the city of gems. And where the solar plexus is, if you look if you go beneath your rib cage, and right above the belly button, underneath the rib cage, that's in the middle of your center. That's where the solar plexus is. And traditionally, it's seen as yellow, just like the sun. The tarot card that would represent her, of course, can you guess? The sun. Now, I want to give her credit's due, because we're seeing this art, and it's not fair to not give the artist recognition. So we got this card, Amaterasu, which represents beauty, from the Oracle deck by Amy Sophia Marashinsky and illustrated by Hirano Janto. Very beautiful. Now this one, I don't have the box anymore, but it's called The Goddess Tarot. And it's from the Lo Scarabeo tarot deck. And you can get these both on Amazon. And this, of course, is the Sun card. So she will help us to shine light on things. So if you're having an argument with someone, she can help you see the other side, maybe the other person's side, or where they're coming from, even if they're wrong, or maybe you're wrong, but she can help illuminate that. She shines light on things that are hidden. She's also good for using in your home to shine light and bring light into your life, into your home, into your sacred area, your space. So if you're dealing with unsavory energies, you can use that. And that would be good for those problems. So when you're feeling angry, you can face the sun and let the light come through you. So greeting the sun, without the sun, the planets would not have their gravitational orbit, nor would there be life or light in the earth. So she's very important. But of course, I'm not going to get. I mean, it takes a 5-year-old to know we need a sun. So, and she's a goddess of agriculture. She brings civility, so she can bring civility into anything you want. And here, look, the beast has been calmed. Look at him. I think he's like, I think he sees the sun and he's basking in it. Look at him. He's basking in the light of Amaterasu, even though it's night. Maybe she has come to visit him and say, be good, cat, don't be destructive. And now he is. Look, he's just so at peace. He's at peace. So, Amaterasu is also known as Ohohirme no Muchi. She's also called Amaterasu Oho Hirume. So those are different titles. So she's a great, shining, illuminating deity of heaven. What else do I want to talk about her? She's a goddess of happiness. That's another thing. She can also bring she's also a goddess of prosperity, abundance. She can be used for things to bring more things into your life, and also to bring in more importance, make you more important in life. So if you're looking for that important position, maybe from you're a cashier and you want to be an assistant manager, or now you're assistant manager and you want to be manager, she can also help you become a CEO of your own company, or become a CEO of a company, to rise in power, to rise in up in pay grades, to give yourself a name. She can help you to take back your power if you have given it away, or if it was taken from you. I think she was a character in Marvel. Was it the Marvel or some video game where she becomes a dog, but actually her animal is a white horse. So Shadow's being such a good boy now. Maybe Amaterasu sang a spell over him, because he was carrying on and being real fussy before in the other room. So I want to thank you for watching this video. And as always, be kind to animals. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe so you never miss a video. Share it with your friends and family and on Facebook. And also, if you like this video, I don't have a Patreon account, but you can always give money to a charity, and you can even put it in my, you can even like in my name do it. Just say, oh, it's the name of Lady Calamero. I'm right, just check out to children's charity, or charity for cancer, or for charity that helps animals. And as always, thank you for watching, and blessed be.